As an unfortunate reality of life, as a human animal, we always must tense up. We're always on our defense. But I guess it sort of makes sense because in the animal kingdom, there are animals that prey upon other animals, and smaller, the more defensive animals have to constantly be on the alert and be on the defense. Look at wild rabbits. They can't have a moment of peace. You can't even stop and pet them because they're constantly, though their ears are up. I call those ears arsenals because they're like if there was an arsenal and they had some kind of a sonar alert system to protect the arsenal against attacks or theft, they would have these huge sonars. That's what they are. They're arsenal sonars to protect them. And us human beings, I guess it sort of makes sense that we prey upon each other just as the animals do. Now, my first experience, because we learn these things. We're born on this earth like clay. We're innocent. Things happen that we become formed and we become hardened. So one of my first experiences of tensing up and being alert and being on the defense was when I was 18 years old. I was in New York City and I was going to the Port Authority bus terminal. I was going on a bus trip and I was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was 18. I was new to this. It was the early 80s. The crack epidemic was just about to begin. I was carrying two luggages. Okay, I had in my jacket pocket, zipped up in the pocket, I had my wallet. And these girls, these prostitutes, these street people are trained to see vulnerabilities, to see people who are new, see people who they needed the money for their drugs, or maybe they didn't make any tricks. I don't know. But I'm walking up 8th Avenue towards the Port Authority, and I'm 18, and these street prostitutes, I don't know, maybe they're 10 years older than me. They're still attractive to me. They're surrounding me and feeling me up, okay? And I was kind of enjoying it. When you're 18 years old and you have women touching you, haven't had much experience with women, it's a very pleasurable experience. But then suddenly they left me alone. They walked away. And I felt my wallet was gonna, I turned around, I yelled, "Hey, you took my wallet." And one of them was still there. "I didn't take it, honey. She took, you better go find it. Here you go, honey." And she gave me my empty wallet, and then she ran away. Everything I had was in that wallet. Okay, my driver's license, my ID, my money, my bus ticket, my meal card, whatever. I remember I had to call on my, we didn't have cell phones, you didn't have beepers. I had to call my grandmother who was still alive, a collect call, and I had to go down to her. Thank God she lived in Manhattan because I didn't know anybody else in Manhattan. And I was able to go in there, and then she was able to hook me up. But that was my first lesson in tensing up because you got to be tense. You got to be survived. You can't have doe eyes and walk around vulnerable. Then my next lesson, okay, was a something that still makes me vulnerable to this day, but at least I'm aware of. You have any buddy out there who smokes weed or uses weed knows that quite often shit happens to you when you're high. Bad, you know why bad shit happens to you? Because you're not tense. You don't have your defense on. You're chilled out. You're slowed down. You're relaxed. You don't have that extra layer of mental sharpness to I didn't smoke weed for many, many years. I was in the matrix. I was stressed. I don't do this anymore, but I used to find myself like so tense because I was biting down on my jaws and I didn't even know that I was doing it. And I used to take these horrible anxiety attacks to make me aware that I was biting on my jaws. Yes, smoking weed can cause anxiety. It can cause paranoia, but also being stressed and being tensed up can cause anxiety attacks as well. And if you get used to getting high, the anxiety will not be as bad. But anyway, I'm not promoting it and I'm not demoting. I'm just talking about it, okay? As an adult who has done a lot of things and within reason of my life. But I remember my first experiences with the vulnerability of smoking weed was when I was 19 years old. I was hanging out on 4th of July, all right, in this parking lot, and I just wanted to get high. I was never into guns. I was never into loud things. I don't like loud, obnoxious cars. I don't like roller coasters. If people were into fun, just don't bring it around me. I don't like loud motorcycles. I don't like those cars that sound like firecrackers with a backfiring and the revving up the engine. I don't like firecrackers, and I'm hanging around in a parking lot and I'm high as hell and the fireworks are freaking me out. I'm feeling like someone who has PTSD, someone who's been in the war, who ducks and rolls over under their porch when they hear the sound of gunfire or a firework. It was really disturbing me, and it was making it worse because I was high. I just wanted to chill. I just wanted to veg out. I just wanted to relax and have a good time because I'm not always that way. I wasn't always smiling most of my life. I was walking around clenching my jaws. I'm usually on the alert. I'm usually paranoid. I usually think people want to do bad things to me. I'm usually tensed up. I'm usually stressed up. And when I smoke pot sometimes, I just relax and I'm smiling and I'm happy, but it makes me vulnerable. Then the next experience I had, I was 19, another bad experience. I used to stare at people. Okay, I don't do that anymore, but I used to stare. I was just walking on a bar looking at some guy, and I remember he had a red mesh shirt on. I didn't even know him, and he looked at me and he started yelling. He goes, "What are you looking at? You want to burn? You looking at the devil, baby. You want to burn?" It scared the shit out of me. I went up to my dorm. I didn't come out of my dorm for a week. I was afraid of running into this guy. I was afraid he was going to beat the shit out of me. I was afraid of the red vest. I was afraid he was going to burn. But then I ended up, going to this thing called a dollar party. Dollar party was when everybody plunks down $1 and they all break bread and get high together. And he was in that party. I don't even think he remembered me. But I remember him, and I was sitting there feeling very much uneasy being with him, very paranoid, afraid he was going to do the same thing to me, but he totally forgot about it. So I got over my fear, but that's my point. It's the vulnerability. Quite often when I'm high late at night and I'm hungry and I want to go out, I'm afraid to go out at night because the freaks come out at night. The crazies come out at night. And even if you don't make eye contact with them, they're crazy enough to come right in your face and start talking to you and saying random shit to you. And I don't like the feeling of vulnerability. Unfortunately, you have to have your mental blinders and you have to be stressed up. Sometimes you got to bite down. Sometimes you got to look down. You got to buckle up and be ready and be on that because it's just human survival. It's the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, the animal kingdom, predators, people who are preyed upon, people defend themselves, people who attack. It's nature's instinct. And I don't know why I'm going off on a riff of this, but it just seemed like the thing to do right now. And I'm not even high. I'm straight as hell, but I just feel like talking about it. So there you go. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Thank you very much. Have a good morning.